I do have some additional, albeit limited, information to share with everyone. Primarily the middle and the elementary school will be releasing students starting now. So I would like to get that information out as soon as we can. We're using the hashtag Freeman HS for Freeman High School on all of our communication from this point forward. That'll be coming out through a consortium of PIOs or information officers. Also, parents can come and pick up their kids that are attending the elementary or middle school approaching from the west to that parking lot. There is a reunification group set up there in the parking lot where school administrators, the parents, and the children can all be identified and reunify there, and then exit through the same fashion through the west access of the school. So that is the elementary and middle. The high school, since that is where the incident happened, that's going to take a little bit more time because the law enforcement officers, the investigators are forming groups to actually interview the kids that were in the school at the time. So that process, what we're asking for is for parents to go to what they're identified to us as the bus barn, which is just above Freeman High School in a parking lot. Parents can go there. They can reunify with their kids as soon as the kids are done speaking with the investigators and the law enforcement officers. Once we get that process done, the investigation will probably continue on through the night and likely into tomorrow. We haven't got information from school administrators whether they will have school tomorrow, but my intuition is they will mostly not. But we don't know that yet, and we'll certainly share that information as soon as it becomes available. So again, to wrap up, 3 children were transported to Sacred Heart Hospital. It's my understanding that they're having a press conference at 12:30 to address the criticality or the seriousness of those children's injuries. And then 1 is deceased, a child that remains here in Freeman High School. And then I do know that the shooter has been apprehended and is taken into custody with law enforcement. So those are the primary details that we have. You may have seen an ambulance and a fire truck just a few moments ago making their way into the scene. There was a medical emergency. There were actually 2 medical emergencies completely unrelated to this incident at the school. So we had to send in more resources. It may have looked like the incident was escalating, but it certainly was not. It was just 2 emergency medical calls that by circumstance happened in the elementary school. So can I answer any questions at this point with the information that I know?
Just one confirmed shooter. There's rumors from parents of the shooter.
There were rumors initially, and I spoke earlier, maybe off camera, to several of the journalists that were here about just the chaos, the level of chaos at the scene. So much information was coming. Oftentimes when you have a building, the shots echo and they go through hallways. So there was reports of multiple shooters. However, that is not true. There was 1 shooter, and that shooter was taken down safely and is in law enforcement custody right now. Thanks for the question.
Do you have any idea what might have prompted this incident?
I sure don't. And again, from a fire chief's perspective, I can't really speak to those. Obviously, that's going to be a law enforcement, a question for law enforcement, and they'll have better details after this investigation is moving forward. Lots of speculation, but I can tell you, I know the sheriff and the fire chiefs and everybody that has been working here would love to come and talk, but it's a very complex situation up on the hill and inside that area. Lots of expansive amount of evidence to compile from a forensic standpoint, and a lot of kids that need their leadership there. So they're staying with their people and they're staying with the kids.
Can you say if the shooter was a student at all or anything like that?
I sure can't, and honestly, I don't know. You know, I'm sure it seems for the viewers that this has been going on for a long time, but the time compression up there is much different. Everything's been happening so fast, and I think it would not really be fair for us to speculate. You know, we're trying to just give you the exact information that is double and triple checked before we come down the hill and give it to you. So that's all I know.
Can you say if he was he or she was student aged?
That I don't know that either. I'm sorry. I wish I did, but I know that when they're further in their investigation, when they have these kids reunified with their parents, and we make sure that the firefighters and law enforcement officers and the paramedics and EMTs, we're going to spend a lot of time with them, because you can imagine, well, even some of our state troopers, they have kids that go to school here. They got the news on the radio that their kids were in an active shooter situation. That's a lot to take from a first responder's perspective. It's going to be a while before they recover, and we want them to spend time with their kids, and we want them to feel okay about the situation before any more releases come out from those people.
Can you speak any more to that counseling response or the support?
I can. The Spokane Fire Department sent our psychologist as well as our critical incident support team. Fire District 8 has a number of qualified chaplains that are also CISD, which is Critical Incident Stress Debriefing qualified, and we're covering all of Fire District 8, which is predominantly the area that covers here. Spokane County is really coalescing around the district. We're providing ALS coverage, fire response, and overhead, or that chief officer presence for their department while they're going through this. So the citizens won't see a decrease in response care, or they may only notice different colored fire trucks in the district for probably the rest of the day and maybe even tomorrow. But that's what we do, whether it's a law enforcement officer or a paramedic service or the fire department. We definitely take care of our own and the public. Thanks for the question.
Are there going to be any other updates throughout today?
My goal is yes. You know, we have a team assembled now of very capable PIOs. We've got the hashtag established. We're going to try to meet up with Deputy Gregory, who's primarily been involved from the very beginning, responding as a deputy. You know, they have to wear two hats. They have to be PIOs, and that's how you most are familiar with them. But when there's an active shooter, or when somebody's life's at risk, they have to switch their hats and go to work. And he did do that, and he went to work. So I think once he's able to step back from that, gets a breath, and is able to recover, he's probably going to come back down, and we'll set up a normal schedule. My goal would probably be the 5 o'clock news. You know, maybe do something at 1600, 4 o'clock. But off camera, we'll send out something that will be worth getting together with new information. I just don't want to have a meeting just to have a meeting. I want to be able to give you good information. So 1600 would be good for us, I think.
With this large herd you've seen and this many witnesses, do you have any idea of how long processing all of those student witnesses and teachers might take, or any kind of
A long time. From what I heard, they're looking at potentially 300 interviews. And if you just do the basic math, 20 minutes, probably 30 minutes for an interview, it's exhaustive. So as we've been sitting here, there's just been unmarked car driving by. They're bringing in detectives from all over to help them, both federal and state and local. Well, I really appreciate your patience, and I understand this isn't the best topic to be talking about, but we appreciate the relationship with the media and sharing this priority of getting the information, the quality information out in a timely process.